Hello, welcome to the reaction to just an update on Hurricane Lala. I thought there's something slightly different in between the animations when they were released. Of course, they will still come out by a different time. So, without further ado, let's see.
Hi, we're here at the National Hurricane Center. It is just before 11 a.m. Friday, Hawaiian Standard Time, coming on with the latest on Tropical Storm Lala. Starting to look a little more impressive on satellite imagery here this morning. Currently located about 340 miles east-southeast of South Point on
That's quite interesting.
the Big
You see
Island of
loop.
Hawaii. The storm moving a little.
Like, if you look at the loop here, you can see the circulation. Like, early thoughts, my early thoughts, because I've not really looked at the Tropical Storm Lala, is that there's a very north biased circulation, so the entire the southern part of the circulation is exposed. You got this high convective cloud cover and high CB within the northern part of the quadrants, and then there's this axis of the low level circulation. There's just a lot of shear, and that is creating this between the vorticities of the mid levels and the low level, is creating this vortex alignment phase, which is where the vortex is, the tilt is increased as you go with the height, and it corresponds to where also the basically the initiation can occur as a result, where the mid-level circulation dominance is going to be supporting on the periphery and the bands to the north. And a lot of dry air entrainment is evident with this sort of skeletal structure to the vortex. But overall, again, pretty hostile to the north. You can see these sorts of fish scale lines with the cloud cover, clearly quite hostile. And obviously the ice systems are not so favourable around this. But obviously still does occur. Last year we had the one category, I think it was the H name storm. The category, yeah, I think it was Hurricane Henriette, was a Category 1 and moved well north of Hawaii, up to almost 30 degrees north as a Category 1 hurricane just to the east of Hawaii, which is a very impressive instance.
Faster toward the west-northwest at 14 miles per hour, still with maximum sustained winds of around 60 miles per hour, but rapidly approaching the Big Island. And actually, if you look at the radar, you can see some of these very first outer bands of fast-moving showers starting to reach the windward side of the Big Island, impacting areas near and just south of Hilo and down towards Volcanoes National Park. Rainfall is going to be a big story with Lala, and that's going to increase pretty dramatically as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours, first in the Big Island and then across the remainder of the state.
30 inches of
the track forecast for Lala has not really changed. We are expecting a general west-northwestward motion toward and taking the center near or over the Big Island of Hawaii during the day on Saturday as it is strengthening to a hurricane. We are expecting Lala to be a hurricane by this time tomorrow. We have a hurricane warning in effect for the Big Island, so that's where we're expecting the most significant wind impacts. So hurricane conditions are going to be likely during the day on Saturday.
I mean, it's with this very, I mean, this is extremely rare. Like, this is not even this is just as rare as any big tropical cyclone like Melissa. Like, this is as rare as it gets. A hurricane making landfall. This is the most intense that's going to be landfall is going to occur, and since the 18th, because we actually have a date and the proper time, in the 1871, I think it's like August 9th, 1871, the Category 3 major hurricane that made landfall. Yeah, around 110 knots. But again, that was a very long time ago, so it's clearly a very rare phenomenon. Not very supportive, especially when it's moving west, moving basically due west. It's not even coming. It's not even recurving. It's not going west to and then recurving north. It's going just due west. Very rare. Basically a Central Pacific origin tropical cyclone, and is really quite interesting. And the dynamics over the main island, the Hilo and the Big Island, really, you're going to see basically a huge difference between winds as it increases up slope. You might even get some 100-mile-per-hour gusts, and higher potentially. If you have like 80, not if you have like 80 miles per 85 miles per hour gusts, they can easily translate to higher, especially when you get close to the main center, like the higher in the circulation with the near flight level winds. You start measuring them. Of course, sometimes you get the drops on data, which would be interesting to see what the actual data will present. But rainfall orographic lift is going to be interesting again because the high rainfall. If you've seen the Kona low formations between January and February early this year were very intense, almost like a Category 5. I think it's called the Pineapple Express. This is the local traditional name of an atmospheric river event. But the Kona low produced a lot of rainfall, like over 30 inches or so. Obviously huge snow totals as well, several feet. And then now we've got another high producing rainfall. We've seen Hurricane Hone, which is only 2 years ago, which was a big influence as well. And then we had even bigger influence the year before that with Hurricane Dora, with the indirect influence by the wildfires. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this progresses.
Especially in mountainous areas where you can see some really, really strong wind gusts.
Also, one of the things is how this compression of all the water could add to Kilauea. Like, would it change it at all? Because of course it's in its eruptive episode phase right now. How much pressure really are we talking? How much rainfall of that sort of surface flow? Because not going to get a lot of percolation into the grounds, these volcanic basaltics of the soils. It's going to all run off, and would it build up? How much pressure could build up, seep in, and would that influence an eruptive thing? Would it influence an earthquake? Like, because obviously you can have a lot of water stress, groundwater influence that will obviously lead to these longer term effects. Quite interesting how, like we're talking about earthquakes, but of course it's a tropical cyclone, but the indirect effects actually can occur, especially with the unique circumstance like this. You can reason it.
Saturday into Sunday, the center of Lala is going to stay south of the rest of the main Hawaiian Islands, but the storm is quite large, and we're going to see wind impacts, tropical storm conditions spreading from Maui County, eventually across Oahu and to Kauai as we go through the day on from Saturday night into Sunday, and then Lala is going to move more quickly away from the main Hawaiian Islands as we get into Sunday night and Monday. If you look at the arrival time of those sustained tropical storm force winds, it's going to be here in the next 12 to 18 hours in the Big Island, looking at the overnight to early morning hours on Saturday, and then reaching Maui County during Saturday, during the day Saturday, reaching Oahu Saturday evening, and Kauai overnight Saturday night into Sunday. So for folks on the Big Island, today's really your last day to get ready. As those gusty showers start to move in, you're going to want to have those final preparations in place. Be in a safe...
The tropical cyclone, tropical tornado supercells, the progression is going to be quite interesting, because we've seen the impacts with Typhoon Bavi and Typhoon Sinlaku. Was it Typhoon Bavi, or I think it might have been Typhoon Bavi, where there was a tornado that actually went through and actually impacted Guam, like one of the first ever reports. I don't know if they actually released a survey, but yeah, actually the influence was quite a rare circumstance, but in this case of like this, because we've seen Hawaii water spout outbreaks, in fact significant ones as well. So I wonder what this could correspond to.
Safe place, certainly by nightfall tonight, and be prepared to stay in that safe place all the way through Saturday and even into possibly Sunday as those heavy rains continue. Speaking of the heavy rainfall, we are expecting a very significant rainfall event, especially on the Big Island and parts of Maui. We're expecting 8 to 12 inches, isolated maximum totals as high as 20.
That's like a huge rain shadow. You got this arch. It's just a massive rain shadow on the other side of only 4 inches.
25 inches, especially on windward sides of both of those islands. Across the remainder of the Hawaiian Islands, 4 to 6 inches of rain is likely.
A lot of rain shadows across all the islands because of the mountainous
all the way from Maui County all the way through Kauai. This type of rainfall could cause life-threatening flash flooding and mudslides, especially in those areas of steep terrain. So again, as we wrap up the update on Lala here this Friday morning, damaging hurricane force winds are expected on the Big Island of Hawaii Saturday.
So the next thing is going to be Moke. It's quite interesting how we've progressed, really, especially since 2024, through quite a few of the names now, about 4 tropical cyclones, and now we could get Moke as well, which is the next tropical cyclone name. Interesting. I think this is one of the seasons that actually could support it.
With the strongest wind gusts expected in areas of high terrain, preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion today before those tropical storm force winds arrive. Heavy rainfall will reach the Big Island starting now and will increase as we go through today and tonight and spread westward across the remainder of the island chain this weekend. This type of rainfall is expected to produce life-threatening.
I'm curious what the storm surge of projections will be closer, because I've not really seen any. Maybe up to 8 feet, probably.
flash flooding and mudslides, especially in areas of high terrain. And we're expecting large and damaging waves, especially on the windward and southward facing coast, especially on the Big Island, all the way through the weekend. And this is going to result in localized coastal flooding and substantial beach erosion. So again, as Lala's impacts begin to be felt in Hawaii, please listen to any advice and any information you're given from your state and local officials. Come back here to the National Hurricane Center at hurricanes.gov for updates on the storm, and check with the National Weather Service in Honolulu at weather.gov/Hawaii. Thanks for joining.
It's really interesting how NHC are now putting in these sort of updates talking about Hawaii, like, and using NWS Honolulu. You never hear these sort of things because it just doesn't really happen. But really interesting updates. So with that, I'll see you in the next one.